government should have worked on Indeni rather than rushing to OMCs.
So now, that has triggered me to ask a question as to what do you think really is the reason that had to compel government to
It's the money.
To put, Indeni on care and maintenance?
Government said, as I said earlier on McFarlane, government said they did not have the money to procure the hydrocarbon cracker, which was costing about $500 million. They said they cannot inject that particular money in Indeni currently as things stand. But here is the irony. Instead of giving the mines the tax relief that they have given them, they would have raised money.
From the taxes?
From the mineral royalty taxes. Before suspending it. They would have said, we raise this revenue, pump it into Indeni, but Indeni can be keeping our fuel. But government didn't do that. What government decided to do instead was to completely shun Indeni, give those foreigners tax holidays, and put the burden now on the Zambian people. The Zambian populace now have to be budgeting every day because they don't know the price of commodities will react as and when fuel is increased. Transport fares will react as and when fuel is increased. Anything in the economy, that is why you are hearing the song, The High Cost of Living. Because most of the things, if not all, depend on energy. But here is government, which has completely ignored. The IMF the other day, I'm sure you read, the IMF itself told this government that government must consider subsidizing energy. Our colleagues in Ghana have done it. Our colleagues in Rwanda are doing it. What is so special about us?
Isn't it
that we're exposed to these market forces, harsh as they might be?
Isn't it all about parameters that lead to subsidizing? Because there could be obviously certain parameters that could make it possible for those countries to subsidize on fuel.
Look, I think for me, every government has to respond to the needs of its people. If government doesn't handle this fuel thing properly, there will be challenges for people to live properly in this life. People will not live properly. People will basically fail to manage. Even the free education you have been talking about, free education, it's not going to amount to anything. Because the same 200 kwacha they used to pay for their children in schools during the last regime, they will even pay much more now, taking their children to school using buses, using taxis, using Yango, or whatever transport you are using. Somehow it has become expensive now to get a child from Kalingalinga or to get a child from Matero to go into town to go and study. It has become more expensive as a result of the challenges of fuel prices going up every month. And it seems to me our government doesn't have a solution to it. They don't have. They basically don't have. And because they don't have, they are also hoping and praying that the market forces will smile at them. Then they can come and say, we have reduced. They are not in charge. A government must be in charge of what it is doing. You can't just rely on the market forces. You can't. That is why you have got bulk reserves like Indeni. Every country needs to have those strategic bulk reserves because those help you to plan. Those help you to cushion shocks. Those help you to move forward. But as we are now, we are exposed to the elements. Very, very exposed to the elements. And our government is equally exposed to the elements because they are relying on the war in Ukraine are finishing. We don't know when it will finish. And that's the story they're telling you, no, there's war in Ukraine, we have to wait for Ukraine. What? I mean, let us manage our own affairs. Even if there's that war, Zambia doesn't even buy fuel from Ukraine. We get our fuel from Saudi there. But we keep on talking about war in Ukraine, war in Ukraine, war in Ukraine. Give us a break.
Hasn't it impacted on the world economy so far as the energy sector?
You, McFarlane, that if you have bulk reserves, the way I would do it myself if I was in charge, the first thing I would have done was to suspend the mineral royalty taxes, which government has given to those mines, that break, that holiday. I would have suspended it, and I would have said, let the mines, first of all, continue paying these monies, then I'll get back to you. First of all, we are in a crisis. In a crisis, you require extraordinary measures. And so we have to apply extraordinary measures now until when we get out of this crisis, will we consider giving you a tax holiday. For now, I need the money from the mines to pump into the energy sector. For now, I need the monies from the mines to resuscitate Indeni refinery, so that once that Indeni is resuscitated, I'll be able to keep the fuel once it comes in the country without experiencing these shocks that we're having. Today, you have got a war in Ukraine. You don't know what other disease will come in the world order and which will affect your fuel. After that disease that you have in the world order, you don't know what else will come. But once you've got a budget, it's the same thing, even as it works in a domestic home. It's the same thing. Augusta Chilabushiko, you are always buying food every day, is different from that one who has a fridge, can keep a sausage, can keep some meat in the fridge, so that on a day you don't have money to buy, you are able to rely on the reserve that you have in the house to cushion the shocks. But Zambia now, we are on a daily basis buying fuel. On a daily basis buying fuel. Daily basis. A government can't operate like that. And it's my sincere hope that President Hakainde Hichilema and his team will begin taking affairs of the nation very, very seriously and ensure that they quickly put up Indeni to running. They stop satisfying their friends, because those are their friends that are satisfying. Why now over there? My foreigners. And why are they so interested in helping foreigners than Zambians? That's why. Why were they in a hurry to give them tax breaks, mines, even before they rushed to the IMF to go and borrow money? Because what should have happened in an ordinary situation is that the UPND leadership would have first of all wanted to understand, why is it that the mines have always been complaining that they're making losses? The scenario that we have here in Zambia is not different from the scenario which is prevailing in Tanzania. In Tanzania, may his soul rest in peace, President Magufuli, he had a similar challenge. Even in this country, in 2006, I think, we had a similar challenge where the mines were threatening President Mwanawasa and his team. If you don't increase, if you continue with this super taxing super profits, we are going to go out. Mwanawasa said, the door is wide open. We'll find other people to come in. Did they go? They didn't.
So there is something that motivates, governments that came after Levy Patrick Mwanawasa, may so rest in peace. And of course, we have seen where foreign investors that are investing in mines being given tax holidays for quite some time. What is the motivation factor from
the motivation is money. We have leaders.
Where is the money going? Is it going to the Zambian people? Or
no, it's going to these same
pockets?
leaders. It's going to these same leaders. That's where the money is going. You need to be radical in front of these resources.
I would like you to, first of all, we having that understanding, because some people will misconstrue you in some aspect. Maybe you give an elaboration on how, the motivation is actually trickling a lot of money into the pockets of these leaders.
Look, before the UPND came into government, they were going all over soliciting for money to run for elections, and they were promising those funders of theirs that once we come in, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, just like they were promising the Zambian people. But because they promised the funders, and the funders quickly reminded them that, hey, you promised us tax holidays. Can you give us those holidays? Because the money that we gave you, we would want to have this money also recovered. That's why you see things like that happening. One can only conclude that those things are happening because the UPND leadership now feels it's time to pay back the mines. How else can you explain why should our president have so much interest in appeasing the foreigners who didn't vote for him than his own people? Why was he in a hurry? 1 month in office, he was in a hurry to scrap off the mineral royalty tax. And yet he had promised us.
Any benefit to that?
The benefit, as I'm saying, is that he wants to please those people who are his probable funders. He wants to make them happy and say he is abiding by what he had promised.
And those are not even benefiting the local.
It's not benefiting the Zambian people. President President Hakainde Hichilema, most of the things that he's doing right now, it's not benefiting the Zambian people. He is a corporate president. The president is a president for the rich, by the rich, procured by the rich. President Hakainde Hichilema has a soft spot for people who have got a lot of money. And he has limited interest in those without resources. You have seen that the president has demonstrated by one, he has given those foreigners who's running Lumwana, who's running Kansanshi, who is running these other mining companies, even KCM and others. They are not Zambians. These people have come from outside Zambia. And those are the people he has first of all gone ahead to please and impress. I think for me that is not right. Secondly, you have seen that when there was that invitation for the president to go to Johannesburg for the launch of the book, the president was rushing to go there. How many choirs in Lusaka here in Matero? How many choirs in Livingstone? How many choirs are launching songs? How many writers are launching books? Well, they've invited the president and he has said he's busy. How many of them? Plenty of them. He has not had time for them. But he has time for his friends, the Oppenheimers, the Brain Trust Foundation. He can go there because he knows where his bread is buttered. That is the challenge that we have. And I know people might not like it because they might think we are getting hard on the president unnecessarily. But ukwebele mfwa yako anoko. Mutanji. Kamina alikwebele tabulapo. It is important for the president to understand that he was elected to the presidency, not for the rich. We want to see Zambians empowered. We want to see Zambians, as was promised by the leadership of the UPND. We want to see Zambians getting jobs. We want to see our youths. We use youths during elections. When we get in power, look at how many youths are being appointed. Only a select few. The same people that have been there before are the same ones that will come back. So the job of the youths is basically to fight for those ones who are there, get them in government, and afterwards we don't even have a clear-cut youth policy. Today as we speak, they had a workshop, which they wanted to call an Indaba. They had a workshop. When they heard me talking about an Indaba, they quickly had a workshop and said this is an Indaba, where they went and they got UPND youths to attend that workshop. An Indaba must involve a cross-section of youths from various disciplines and fields. You need to get those who are interested in agriculture, those who are interested in timber, those who are interested in mining, those who are interested in various disciplines. They come together and begin interrogating their potential. That has not happened. The biggest ministry which this country should be having now is the Ministry of Youth. We should stop looking at the Ministry of Youth as a social ministry. That is an economic ministry now, defining our times, where we are today. But, alas, it's all rhetoric. They are talking a lot, congratulations, but little is being done.
Let's look at the aspect of how the plight of the youth is actually supposed to be attended to, because these are some of the issues. When you go on the street, you hear a lot of youths actually complaining that they have been left behind in terms of, everything to do with how their livelihood is supposed to be improved. And their core objective when they rose up that early morning to go and cast a vote was to have their lives transformed from, the shackles of poverty, and of course get to be involved in steering the development of this country. How would you have loved this, section of the, population improvement?
The fact that there's a problem with the youth. That's why the point of departure would have been that same Indaba. And an Indaba which is organized not only in Lusaka. You follow the youths where they are, province by province, because every province has got an advantage. Then the Economic Empowerment Commission, CEC, Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission, the CEC should have been married to the Ministry of Youths today as we are speaking. They should have relaxed the rules, increased the funding and disbursement to CEC, so that the projects that the youth do in every project become bankable documents, which We needed to see, in the last 9 months, there should have been movement towards that agenda. And I'm here speaking on radio. It is free advice. They can take it or leave it. What we need to see, because most of these youth don't have capital. The youth themselves have ideas. Have an interview with them. They have ideas. What they don't have is capital to trigger and bring to fruition those ideas which they have. So what should have ordinarily happened is that we should have seen a movement between CEC and the Ministry of Youth and Sports to see how best can we incorporate the youth in this agenda. More money is disbursed to that sector. And then see how many youths in Western Province have said they want to go into Kasholand. Can we look at their documents? Government itself should have provided even the guarantee that if they get money, looking at the proposals that they have done, we are going to back them up. Please, let's give them an opportunity. That is not happening. We have continued to use youths in the same way we are using them before. We are having graduates from the Copperbelt University, Lusaka University, University of Zambia, Lutebem University. Mention all those universities. Every year you are producing an army of graduates on the streets of various towns in this country without an opportunity for jobs. That is one. Secondly, industries might take long, but there are certain industries which government should have provided a deliberate policy to begin improving. Why is it that 58 years after independence, we still have Zambians going to get soya chunks from Tanzania when Zambia is producing soybeans? Why hasn't government identified youths who are interested in agriculture in the first 6 months of government's operation and allowed those youths to begin running with those soya machines to begin making soya chunks? Those are one of the issues you will make your youths busy. Why, in God's name, are we still drinking cooking oil coming from Tanzania and Zimbabwe when we have youths in this country who can begin producing cooking oil if only they are given the necessary incentives using CEC or even under the auspices of the United Nations? There's a component which funds our youths with progressive ideas as long as government has backed it. Why isn't it happening? And somebody will tell you it is 9 months, give them. I'm not refusing. Not everything can happen in 9 months. But at least movements should begin getting triggered within 9 months. We should begin seeing policy directions. Up to now, it is 10 months this month that the UPN leadership is in government. We have not seen movement towards the youth. We have not seen any hope. Even when the president had an opportunity to appoint youths in that parliament, using 8 members of parliament that he is supposed to nominate to the house, he didn't choose any. He went and chose the same people that have been there. I was with Likandom Falali in parliament. He's there, nominated as a member of parliament without a portfolio. So one begins to wonder, when the president, when the architects of our constitution were talking about nominating members of to parliament, citizens to parliament, it is for the president to look at the needs that he wants, special needs, in case among the MPs that have been elected, there are some without special needs or some that were left out, like the physically challenged, and you know, if women were marginalized in the, then the president could have used this discretion to bring them up to the house. The people that he has appointed, I have not seen any special attribute to those that he has appointed. It's because in this country, political expediency has always won at the expense of what is correct.
Sure.
That is the problem.
Now, let's get to also look at the fact that, you know, going forward, since we have identified, you know, the ills, the problems that obviously are still impeding, you know, attention towards the youth, what is your general overview insofar as the plight of the youth?
When you talk about the panacea, it must be a firm foundation from which we should begin working on the needs of the youths. And for me, the panacea now to have youths emancipate, move from where they are to the next level, it must be a deliberate policy that will encompass youths in the governance of our country. And I told you, the first thing must be to transform that Ministry of Youth and Sports, upgrade it. Once you upgrade the ministry, it begins attracting its own funds. But beyond that, government must already begin looking at the United Nations. The UN has got a lot of programs in which government can feed and begin supporting the youths. Secondly, is to begin making land available, begin making youths with ideas. You begin getting those ideas and begin making them bankable documents. Begin funding those ideas and make the youths begin realizing their potential. Those that can get employed, like we have done ourselves in our own manifesto, we have said we are going to mainstream. There will be a department of youths in every department. There has to be a department. But also it goes beyond just government. It has to go also in quasi-government institutions. There are certain policies that we have proposed, like the ones that are in Kenya, where 10% of whoever is employed in any company has to be a youth. 10%. Whether you are running your own company here at Prime TV, whether you are, it is a labor law to allow the youth to be absorbed in. Then you know you are making progress. But right now, 10 months down the line, there is no clear plan. No clear plan for the youths in this country. No clear plan for this in this country. Why? Because our colleagues know it all. And once you know it all, then you know nothing. They know it all. No, we are doing it. We are working. And they have gone in their own enclave. They have gone in their own enclave where they believe that we have hammered it. I saw my sister, Chushika Sand, when she was saying, she was itemizing after 100 days the successes of the UPND leadership. And I said, Wabepa kabuwa musheto. No mwino wa ibepa.
Meaning?
Meaning, if you don't have food and you keep on cheating a dog that here is the food, the dog is just there to look at your signs, and you are basically cheating yourself. So they are cheating themselves that they have done so much, when what they have done so much, yes, it's just talk. They don't even know where they're coming or going. They have been talking a lot. But somebody reminded me, Harry, it is only 10 months. But I've also told them that in 10 months, and I've given them an example. I said, when Wachiluba was president in 1991, within the first 100, we saw how we demystified the problem of transport in this country. People were sleeping at bus stations. Within the first 100 days, the MMD government brought in a policy. They brought in a policy of ensuring that transport issues were demystified in this country. That's what has happened. That's what happened. People began bringing in IFMA DCM buses. A lot of them in the country. It is now our DCM buses which were waiting for people and not the other way around. We used to see a shortage of goods to stores. But when they came in, we saw that that also was demystified because of just one simple policy direction they did. They opened that border and they allowed the vehicles to come in duty-free, but especially those that were for transport purposes, they all came in duty-free. It's a policy direction. Bakaunda also, when he won the presidency in 1964, you saw Bakaunda began concentrating on building universities, building technical colleges all across this country. It was a policy direction. What is the policy direction of the UPND leadership? Is it to transport a politician like Harry Kalaba, who's on radio today? Then they tell some kada in Mitete, oh, go and complain to police. Then you get Harry Kalaba, transport him all the way to Mitete. Instead of transporting fertilizer to the farmers, instead of transporting these essential commodities to the people, you are busy transporting politicians. Wasting fuel, wasting public taxpayers' money in that fashion. Is that the way we are going to go? And the UPND government had told the leadership they were going to abolish this cyber law, which was introduced by the PF. Up to now, it is 10 months. No one is talking about it. All we are seeing is people being transported from one area to another. That is the colonial law.
Is this not the preserve of the parliamentarians to abolish this particular law?
Take it to Parliament. Why haven't they taken it to Parliament? The president said the first thing he would do.
Is there any member of parliament that has raised that motion?
You don't have to have a member of parliament raise a motion. Harry Kalaba, a citizen, is talking about it. McFarlane Munyanga, a citizen, is interviewing Harry Kalaba on it. There are others who are talking about it, whose rights are being infringed. As you and I are speaking, some people are in Solwezi, others are in Lukulu, others are in Nakonde, others, God knows where next someone else will be. Not that we are scared. Some of us, we don't even fear nothing. We'll go where we need to go. It will give us an opportunity after interrogations with the police, we begin branch formation, and then we'll come back after a week. But it is just a law which is bad, which must be worked on immediately. Because what they are saying is that because it is being used on social media can be accessed anywhere. So the guy in Nakonde can say, I have seen this. The guy in Shangombo will say, oh, I have seen the article of what you were saying on Joy FM. I think for me, I'm very displeased with what he said. Therefore, here is a charge against Kalaba. A docket is open for him. They will bundle me out of Lusaka, take me to Shangombo. Is that the development that we are looking for? Is that what we should be eulogizing? Is that a law the president should pretend doesn't exist when he knows it is there? I think he should come out and strongly begin doing what he's supposed to be doing.
All right. Now, there is something that obviously is in any person's mind that obviously critically think and see issues very clearly, insofar as how the ascension of our leaders to positions of authority is, where we know very well that the aspect of ascending to power is where you will see every leader would always want and feel they have to think of themselves first before they actually think of other people. This is common knowledge, where there is no leader that will obviously just the livelihood of the majority citizens, but first of all the interest begins with themselves. This is very clear. And of course, you cannot dispute this particular matter.
Well, it depends. That's what I'm saying, that we have reached a position in our politics, in this country, McFarlane, where citizens have begun losing confidence in politicians. Where they have begun thinking, we are all the same, and because we are all the same, we cannot be trusted. They said, even your friends. I mean, on my Facebook page, I've seen it several times, someone challenging me that, I mean, even your friends were saying the same things, and they'll do it. Once they were given, they never did it. But people are different, extremely different. Some are pursuing it because they want to make more money in their politics. Some of us are doing it for posterity. We are doing it because when I am gone, when the books will be written about Harry Kalaba, when the name Kalaba will be mentioned, I want to find myself on the right side of the argument. I was Foreign Affairs Minister. I was Minister of Lands and Environment. I was Minister in charge of disaster under the office of the Vice President. I took a step of resigning as Minister a year after elections. In 2016, we had elections. 2017, I went ahead and resigned as Minister of Foreign Affairs. Why did I do that? I did that because I thought at the time the way things were moving was not the way things should be. That's why I did that. So for me, even when Zambians one day will give me an opportunity to become president of Zambia, and I know they will give me one day an opportunity, it is for me to do what is right for this country. That is why we are proposing all this. Why can't we be radical the way South Korea was radical after the Second World War? Why should a country that had gone in an alliance, Singapore, had gone in an alliance with Malaysia, They were part of that federation with Malaysia. And when the Malays pulled out of that federation, Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew wept of Singapore because he thought he didn't have a chance. Today, as we speak, Malaysia doesn't produce oil. But Malaysia is one of the countries exporting too much of it. It's just about leadership. It's about leadership. What do we really want? You can't have a system like the one we have now. Everything is gravitating around only one person. Everything. That's not government. But I leave it to them. For me, my interest is Zambians must begin getting a breather. We must begin taking advantage of our opportunities. I love China with all that China has been doing. But I think we need to give our people an opportunity. I love South Africa.
Yes.
We have ShopRite here in this country. Why have we allowed ShopRite? Just why have we allowed the South Africans to invade us in the manner that they have done? 78% trade in favor of them and only 22 skewed towards us? Is that the way we'll continue? We are on COMESA. We are with COMESA. We are making very little progress on COMESA soils. It's because we are not empowering our people. It must be our citizens first. It must be our citizens first. Zambians first. Once you do that in the road sector, you do that in the industry of manufacturing, you do that, because give me the presidency. What if it's where you have a masaka, you are importing a masaka from outside Zambia. Why? We have to begin making our own amasaka in this country. We have to begin making our own soya chunks in this country. Today, even the milk you are drinking is coming from Uganda. And you call that development. Forget it.
Right. Zambia seems to be an investment hub, and there is a seemingly, lack of interest by leaders to actually make sure that they put much interest in the human resource of this country, considering the fact that Zambia is actually an investment hub. Why not investing in the locals as opposed to, making sure that the only interest that I've seen is that Zambians are highly taxed as opposed to foreigners that are coming to invest in this country.
Yes.
And there is more of interest in taking or making a follow-up of how a Zambian is actually making money in their course of business, as opposed to looking into what a foreigner is doing in making their business. Really, these issues ought to be looked at. How would you harmonize this particular matter where a Zambian has to be seen rising as opposed to going down?
I'm McFarlane, you know that I hate corruption. I hate corruption. That's why I even resigned. These people who are being arrested, this one did this, this one did that. Why are we not seeing Lebanese being arrested? Why are we not seeing Chinese being arrested? Why are we not seeing those Indians who are corrupting those same politicians being arrested? Why? Are you telling me those people are committing corruption alone? Are you telling me that? Somebody was inducing them. But because the same things have started, which were happening in the past, have continued even in this regime, and even worse, because they have started early. They have started early. They are in a hurry to make all the money that they want to make. That is why you see that even the fight against corruption is having problems. It is having serious bottlenecks, this fight against corruption. Because the interests from your leaders is huge. How many leaders have? They have appetite for corruption like no man's business. They are always talking. I've never heard them even talk about labor laws, even talk about workers in ShopRite, even talk about workers in... They can't talk for those workers because they are eating with them. They are eating with those employers. Ubushiku, they are having yama cocktails. They are eating, they are having all kinds of delicacies with those employers. During the day, when you tell them about the labor laws and all, they are saying, no, we are busy, we are in a meeting. They are not busy. Yes, they can be busy because they were eating in the night. But at the end of the day, no leader is talking for these workers. Tapali. That is why you have got truck drivers. They can mistreat them in any way. You have got these bus drivers. You have got these taxi drivers. Nothing is changing. What is changing is just the lifestyle of those people that you elected. Because they didn't come to save. They came to become comfortable, as you put it earlier. Leaders want to first of all become comfortable. Me, when I was a leader, when I was member of parliament, Kobahati, I gave up my money for sitting allowance. I was giving it to people in Bahati constituency. We are not hearing that. They have said they have increased your CDF. No, it is now 25.7 million. McFarlane, I told you last year when I was here that this CDF they have increased. You will see to be kafuafua. Why should you want to give people money? Again, for account. Why are you doing that? Why don't you first of all look at the proposals they are making? If they are making sense, go ahead and give them money for opening accounts, pay those banks, instruct them to open accounts for them, so that they don't begin looking for money. Now, when I move for Indalama, and then when they come to you, you start telling them, oh, I know you didn't qualify, because there's no guarantee that you've opened an account to be given because you've opened that cooperative. There's no guarantee. How many people are benefiting from that 25.7 million you're talking about? And they have only funded the first quarter. When is the second quarter coming? Because this is the second quarter we are in. When is it coming? When is the money coming? Nothing.
So that simply means that the first quarter of the disbursement of the CDF will just go like that, and the citizens will not actually receive this money.
No, they will not.
We conclude that way.
They will not, because first of all, they did not think through how CDF works. When I was a member of parliament, we used to have a problem just to finish the 1.6 million kwacha. That time it was called a billion kwacha. We used to have a problem. Why? Because the staff at the constituency, there are only three. It is the guard, the secretary, and the personal assistant. Then that office relies on the council. Now, if that office is relying on the council, how will they be very effective? And then you give them money from 1.6, you give them 25.7 million, and you are saying the jobs are in that money. Is that the way you create jobs? Pam Sokotwane was saying, when he was asked, where are the jobs? The jobs are in CDF, just wait. Just wait. The budget is coming out. The budget came out. What has happened? Nothing. The youths are still struggling. I think government should start taking these youths seriously. It is too much. Too much.
The youths are actually, suffering these
too much
around. And of course, let's get to taking a cause so that we can hear what people are saying out there. I'm actually talking to the leader of the Democratic Party, Mr. Harry Kalaba. And indeed, you can also pass your comments via 0977165743, 0977165743, 0960969269. Good morning. Bueno Bwanji.
Bueno mali Bwanji basogoleli.
Yes, please go ahead. We can't hear you, Bakalenga. We can't hear you. Okay, kindly try to call us back, and we'll be able to hear what you are saying. 097743. Let's get to hear what you are saying. Good morning.
Sorry.
How are you today?
I'm fine, my friend.
Boza yoye.
Good morning. Who is this?
This is Elvis.
Ah. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm not wearing any jacket today, Mr. Elvis.
It's the coat you're wearing.
Go into your submission.
Morning, sir.
Fine. Yesterday, I was going through the community, and you know, I do some community work here, interacting with the people. And the people are very angry with this government. They were telling me yesterday that, please, go and tell President Kalaba that we need him to vigorously come on the ground and make sure that this government is kicked out in 2026. You are the only hope the people are banking on. You look at the UPNG today, everything is in shambles. The CDF we were talking about is nowhere to be seen. This is the second quarter. We are very soon going in the third quarter. This money they are claiming that it is sitting in the account, but it is not trickling down to the people. This money has made development to store in all areas because everything has been lumped into the CDF. Education, CDF. Empowerment, CDF. Youth empowerment, CDF. Kumangama toilet, CDF. Marodi, CDF. Drainage, CDF. Where is the government there? To me, I think this CDF thing was supposed to research. They would have researched something. It found that CDF thing are 7. Like you said, Mr. President, this is the government, Mr. President, which has inflicted more pain on the people of Zambia, more than the PF did. This government has even failed to make sure that it gives the youth employment which they promised.
Kindly wind up, Mr. Office. We have others waiting to be heard as well. Yes, please.
President Kalaba, you are speaking very well. The people are behind you. We are banking on you. Keep on talking. And the manifest case of a president that instead of taking fertilizer from my areas, they are busy taking.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm grateful.
We appreciate we take in some more calls. Good morning.
Thank you very much. One more time, I'm calling from work, but I live in those compound.
Okay.
To pay back for a mine, where has this disrespect for the dead come from, Kalaba? Today we are reading in newspapers, a dead man's property has been seized, Mr. Kalaba. Why is capitalism so evil? Why should we be fighting the dead? So what I'm saying is, I think for me, next time, a president that is not a businessman, because there is a lot of conflict of interest, like you have said. We saw recently the president going to sign a book, surely, honestly speaking.
Imagine.
The entire Eagle One going to sign a book at our expenses. Yet at Chingwele Hospital, there are no medicines. So, Makarawa, I think that we need socialism, Makarawa. Just send your ideology. You are a very good leader. You speak so well. But is the ideology that you live in is what is killing us. Thank you very much, Napiam.
We appreciate your contribution. Good morning. Bakalenga, you have a minute to actually exhaust your thoughts. Please, go ahead.
Wakambatia hii na opposition tunapata mateka balance wakafanya solution unaona ka basi takaangana tena kuti aja mapenzi yana kupata na makasileta yao yaja ina sababu hino aga tunapo paka mpeleka kama kisha mbele hapana kati ndio konjera unaona ka maana ndio kibebe bene market wale kwa konka mao yao ndio producer abantu wale kwa konka mao aja then manje mawao ndio matia hii tani so kana badavomera. Manapenda tukapea tunataka mafuta Sasa subsidy ndio konde na wale president watata. Waona ka? Bati yale ngira mtawa wale president banji wahodine ya province yao. Ndio makaroga tiari pakani subsidy sasa tunapata diziwe wazangere. Kama ndio mambo tunali kwa nchi hapa tunaleta kuikonka. Waona ka? Sasa tikamba nitakutii. Ayupe ngini zona wakarabole tera. Waona? Samia kama nitakutii wakarabati kambeni kwa ni wantu wavuti kwa ground. Waona? Na kutoka da pasa yana chuo ko kombe bwanji wewe unataka chuo kugonga kan.
Okay. Wakalenga. Wakalenga. Thank you very much, Mr. Kalenga. We appreciate your concern. Let's get to hear this one and then we allow the president to respond. Good morning.
Good morning, Mama Kalenga.
I'm well, thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. Mr. Kalaba, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm all right. You are talking to Mr. Mianda here in Lusaka. Mr. Kalaba.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. You can proceed, please.
Yes, please. Are you getting me?
Proceed with your contribution.
My contribution this morning is that you see what the UPND government has put in structures, has put in a working program in order to better this nation. All right? And when you come on the radio, Mr. Kalaba, it's not good to just rubbish everything. You must appreciate something that the government has done. For example, the issue of the free education. Are you telling me that how many parents have benefited from the free education? There are a lot of parents that have benefited, Mr. Kalaba, from the issue of the free education. CDF from 1.6 to 25.7. It means that a lot of Zambians are going to benefit. Only that the only thing that is remaining is that the government is trying to put in logistics, certain logistics, in order to make this thing work. That is what is remaining. It's not that the government has failed. No, they have not failed, but they are trying to put in certain things, certain logistics to make sure that the CDF benefits you and me. That is what the government is trying to do, Mr. Kalaba. And
okay.
Your political party, Mr. Kalaba, you stood in the 2021 elections. And out of that, I don't know whether you have a councillor, I don't know whether you have an MP.
We appreciate your contribution, Mr. Mianda. Thank you very much.
Your political party is a failed party.
We appreciate and have a good day. Let's get to hear your reaction to the cause that actually came through so that we can incorporate everything in one.
Thank you. I think first of all, I want to thank Elvis for the niceties that he lavished on what we are doing. Comrade Elvis, thank you very much. And for those people you are visiting, tell them that I'll be with them on the ground. We are not even joking. We are not playing. We are going to visit them on a daily basis. We are going to be with them in their compounds. We'll be with them in their homes. We'll be with them where we can find them who come. Because we need them to understand that our jokes have to come to an end. We have played enough jokes in this country. It's time to get doing. It's time to get serious. Mutembo was talking about capitalism. I think last time I had said, I have never supported the notion of having a businessman par excellence like President Hakainde Hichilema to be president. Because a businessman of President Hakainde Hichilema's caliber simply means that all he's doing is about business. It's profits. He's going to engage in acts that will benefit him. Either indirectly or directly, he will do it. He's not different from President Trump. Their interests are the same. That is their common denominator. That's the problem. In a poor country like ours, you need a person that has got very limited interest with money like Kalaba. Because if some of us wanted money, we would not have stopped being foreign ministers. We would have said we are continuing. But because we realize that in life, there's something beyond the money That's why we are here today. So yes, I agree with you, Mtembo. But I also want to remind you, Mr. Mtembo, a political ideology in itself is not enough to change a country. There's a lot of bitterness in this country. A lot of bitterness, jealousy in this country. That is why I don't agree with Mamianda when he says we should be appreciating. The first thing we started talking about here when we started, I acknowledged the strength that President Hakainde Hichilema has exhibited as regards giving space to his political opponents to visit areas without being paraded by police. That's why, and in case you came late, I mentioned in this program. Because as we are magnanimous, what is correct will say we are correct. Makalenga, it is true UPND promised mountains. That is why Lelobala itakataka. Y minus Q formula, where Y is equal to income, where is that board I was writing on? There's nothing. It is because President Hakainde Hichilema, with due respect, but President was more ready to lose the elections than to win. He was more prepared to fight PF in court than to go to State House. That's why it's not even shifted up to now. He was more ready to lose than to win. Because even in real life, this man, our president, he has never been in government before. So when he was telling you those things, when I come, I'll do this, he was speaking out of lack of understanding of how government operates. Because our president, Shiva, he would not have been saying some things he was saying. Now that he's beginning to understand, he would have been careful. That is why the Tumubule player, who tell me United here, Prime TV United, because you can, it doesn't work that way. That's the challenge we have. You can't get a supporter who is loud-mouthed, I think you is a good man. Is that from the stands? Is that when you follow Jesus? You think I like that is what we did. We got to a president. He has never been in the system. Whatever Mamianda says will not hold water. Because Mamianda is living in a community. So what if you increase? It's like Panchito. They increase the salary of your husband. They increase your husband's salary. And when they increase his salary, the man doesn't come to your home. The man is not reaching your home. Can you go and tell your neighbors that if a number have increased my husband's salary? Because it must reflect. Their increment must reflect what is happening on the ground. Bamianda should tell us what has the 25.7 million helped. But Elvis is moving in the community. Is busy moving in the community. It is not helping them in that community. I want to say my communities. No Mbaba Lelandaba. Without Shua, I was in Karikiriki. And one of the complaints people raised was buy to pay a CDF. But up to now, nobody's telling us anything about the same CDF. Last thing was to approve Chinese compound. To get push at overpay the contract from CDF to do this and that. Where are the leaders to tell the people? Bakara, we don't have a councillor. No. We have two councillors, by the way. One is coming from Nalolo, and one is coming from Chifunabuli in Wapula province. So we have two councillors. And even Monshaba Tampa, even the Zambezi River, when you see it from there, where it comes from there, just like a small water where it's coming from Karene Hills there.
Yes.
But when it goes in the Victoria Falls, that water you are seeing in the Victoria Falls is coming from the source there. Even Vasata in 2001 only had one MP. 4 years later, he had 43 members of parliament. We might have two councillors today. Watch the space in 2026 as we triumph over so many challenges. So I can tell you the truth, Mamianda, that we are not criticizing the president because we don't like him. I have told you that for me and my team, we will ensure that we say what is right. Where President Indeni HH7 will score, I'll be the first one to say he has done right. Like I acknowledged him on my Facebook page. And he himself even wrote back on the page, admitting to say, thank you, Harry. Because what is good, and that's my character. I will not play politics which are basic. I will play elevated politics without malice, without hatred. Because if Indeni HH7 manages to do it, it means the Zambians are also managing to do it. We should encourage him where he does well. And where he's fumbling, like if I takataka on the Public Order Act, if I takataka on the flags, this one is flying you, where it's not clear. All those things we'll be talking about them. Because we want the president to be straightforward.
All right, now we are actually hitting a spot where we ought to end our program. Your final words regarding what has been discussed, and of course, obviously, people would like to.
I want to give the numbers to the listeners out there. Is it okay? I can give out numbers.
Go ahead, please.
So I'll give out numbers. But first of all, I want to thank the people who have called in. They have taken time to call in. That is credible. And I want to assure them out there that we are going to offer credible checks and balances. We will not fear anybody, because this is not the type that fears a fellow human being. We are going to say what is correct. We are going to say what is going to be fair, and we'll be as objective as we can to help our country. We don't know when our day to go back to the Lord will come. But before that day comes, we want to do the best for our country. Not in a malicious way, but in a positive way that will influence this country. The number for the Deputy National Secretary, Mr. Chintu, is 0977 41 42 74. 0977 41 42 74. The number for Mr. Mashindi is 0977 86 12 92. 0977 86 12 92. The number for Mr. Alex Chikankatika is 077184 1777. 077184 1777. Those are the numbers that you, our listeners, will get in touch with Harry Kalaba. And in fact, even my number, it's 0977 794129 or 977 794129. Those are our lines. You will reach us. We are your servants, and we are at your beck and call. God bless you, and may God bless the Republic of Zambia.
You left out my number. I thought you would also give the people my number.
No, you didn't give permission, McFarland. You didn't.
All right. I like, and many others actually like, the way you master these numbers of the people that you work with.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And of course, the platform ends right here. We'll be back on Monday with yet another edition of this program. My name is McFarland Munyanga.